Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Aquarius February 2018 horoscope forecast. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing off is as far as February goes, the sun will be in Aquarius from the 1st until the 18th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So this could be a time for Aquarius where there's a strong concentration of power, attention, and focus on perhaps one's future in terms of, their outlook, the future outlook of the person, the appearance, especially if this is actually hitting the literal first house of one's natal chart. This could also be about putting a lot of strong focus and attention perhaps into independence and freedom just in general, and who you want in terms of who you want to be, and really this could also be about shining very strongly, standing out perhaps in Aquarius, like things such as things that are innovative, or perhaps even just being very unique, as Aquarius often is, very unorthodox, your originality. And this could also be about putting a strong concentration of energy and attention into perhaps very unique and might even be unorthodox new beginnings, ones that you see are about very original, are connected with originality. Now, anyway, next thing up is the sun will be in Pisces as far as February goes from the 18th until the 28th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, well, this could be about a strong focus, concentration of power, and attention into idealism, compassion, and imagination in matters that are monetary. It could be about a lot of this energy put into perhaps self-sacrifice in things connected with money. And it might also be at the same time really about, you look at the second house, it's about one's self-esteem and one's self-worth, and being very idealistic about this, and doing, and really maybe where no goal is attainable in terms of improving one's self-esteem and one's self-worth, because we are talking about idealistic Pisces energy, and also over maybe generating income, really reaching for the stars, so to speak. And remember that Pisces energy is self-sacrificing, and the second house is about possession, so you could do the math. This could be about a lot of sacrificing regarding one's possessions at this time. Pisces is certainly a sign that really doesn't put much emphasis on things that are monetary and possessions for that matter. So anyway, next thing up is the new moon will be in Aquarius on February 15th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, this could be about a new, unusual, unorthodox, and unconventional maybe outlook at this time. It could be a new, unusual appearance that maybe begins for Aquarius. It could be also that maybe we're talking about appearance, especially if this is the actual first house. This could be about maybe changing the appearance through high-tech, really a very innovative computer, like electronic technology, such as high-tech workout equipment that could be computerized and electronic. And this could also be about maybe embarking on a new friendship for maybe somebody you might have known, was acquainted with in your early childhood, but didn't really know them that well. And it could also be about really new, unusual, just beginnings in general at this time. So, and anyway, well, the next thing up is, well, Mercury will be in Aquarius as far as February goes from the 1st until the 18th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius in general, one could expect Aquarius to be more loquacious, more talkative than usual. being very, Aquarius can be very spontaneous and unpredictable in speech, but this could really be very emphasized at this time since Mercury is in that sign. Could also be at the same time, there could be a lot of really thinking outside the box over what may do in terms of their outlook and their appearance, and it could really be even more cerebral at this time than usual, Aquarius. So the thing about this is, and also you're looking at this as well, is that when you're talking about Mercury and Aquarius and the first house, that at the same time, Aquarius energy, you look at that, I talked about before, can be very spontaneous and very unpredictable. So there can be a lot more unpredictability in speech, and even more so than usual for Aquarius. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Mercury will be in Pisces from the 18th, as far as February goes, from the 18th until the 28th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, well, there might be more idealistic thinking regarding things of a monetary nature at this time, and really at the same time, this could be about thinking really about self-sacrifice in regards to possessions and resources at this time. There also might be that the thinking can be a little bit more ambivalent than usual, and things may be things that are, when you're conversing regarding things of a monetary nature, it might be where a lot of more statements might be a little bit more ambiguous, and you might misconstrue certain things. Remember, too, people, that Mercury also means more than just communication and thing. It can be about, Mercury also rules thieves. So in being, we're talking about Mercury and the second house of money. This is a time where really Aquarius needs to be careful of really deceptive thieves and con artists, and trying, even pickpocketers, and ones that, people that might give the illusion that they're not, but they really maybe are in disguise. So I think that's very important to look at too. And really, another thing about this too is that there can be a lot more talking regarding about second house matters, such as values, and really the thinking can be very idealistic regarding these matters. And really, maybe things that are Pisces-like might be tied into them, such as the metaphysical, which can include, of course, astrology, be spirituality, things that are, and just generally idealism and compassion, and those things could be ones that are talked about in terms of what one may value during this time. So anyway, well, the next thing up is, well, Venus will be in Aquarius as far as February goes, from the 1st until the 10th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius at this time. So for Aquarius at this time, there could be a lot of this love of innovation and things that are eclectic, that are unique, unusual, might be expressed very outwardly at this time. It could also be a time, if Aquarius is unattached, that prospective love or significant other might actually find Aquarius and, so to speak, and come into contact with him or her. It could be an Aquarius sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply somebody that embodies Aquarius-like characteristics. This could also be a time where Aquarius, you're talking about Venus, is about money, might be more money conscious at this time, and might spend money more on his or herself than usual at this time. And the money in Aquarius spending can be somewhat paradoxical. It could be something like spending a lot on large items and then spending minimal on smaller items. So on one, and being the first house on oneself. So anyway, next thing up is Venus will be in Pisces as far as February goes, from the 10th until the 28th. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, there could be a little bit, you might be getting from people maybe a little bit more deceptive charm maybe from people that you're in a relationship with. It could even be significant friendships, and it might be maybe to try to get money from you at this time, so be very careful at this time, Aquarius. And this is also could be more, I mean, Venus and Pisces energy could be a love of, and enjoyment of lethargy and fantasy and relaxation. So, and you're talking about the second house of income, so you could do the math. It might be a little bit harder for maybe some Aquarians to generate income at this time, because there might be more of a need for relaxation, and that might maybe somewhat conflict with that. At the same time, this could also be about a love of idealism and compassion and self-sacrifice, and one may apply this maybe to one's values and maybe even things of a monetary nature, where Venus in Pisces is really energy where one is generally not quite as concerned about material items than usual. So, and you're talking about the second house, which of course is over generating income, possessions, and things of a monetary nature. So, and also remember, Venus and Pisces can be unrealistic spending as well. So it could really be about maybe more unrealistic spending on maybe things that you think might help improve your self-esteem and self-worth. So anyway, next thing up is Mars will be in Sagittarius this month as well. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, well, situations with friends and acquaintances might be a little bit more contentious and acrimonious than usual at this time. There can be a lot of more differences with these people on philosophy, religion, sports even. Some might just simply be healthy debates, but there can also be a lot of exuberant and enthusiastic Sagittarius-like energy injected into perhaps one's goals and one's aspirations at this time. In the future, a lot of positive energy at this time as far as that goes. And this could be a good time for working off energy and aggression, perhaps in some vigorous sports activities or doing something outdoors. And this could likely be done with friends, with acquaintances, and in group situations. So anyway, next thing up is Jupiter will still be in Scorpio. So the 10th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, well, as I've stated before, Jupiter can be paradoxical. I mean, it's very strongly benign and benevolent, but it also can have the tendency to expand and enlarge. And it could expand and enlarge perhaps surreptitious activity in matters connected with one's career and one's reputation. This could be about perhaps people going maybe sneakily behind Aquarius back and doing things to maybe help bring the downfall perhaps of one's public image in one's reputation. At the same time too, this could be about a lot of good luck and fortune connected with making a major change or transformation in one's career. And also looking at this energy, and it could also be in attaining career, really having positive things happen in one's career, perhaps by maybe seeing, really getting to the bottom of things, so to speak. If something is awry at the place where Aquarius is made, where their career is located, and you're dealing with maybe, say just people that you might be suspicious of, it could be an important time to getting to the bottom of those people and really looking through the subterfuge, so to speak. And by knowing, who's on your side and who's not there, that will actually help you, could be very beneficial at this time. So anyway, and also there could be a lot of, this would be very fortuitous, not just for the career, but for public image, and for one's, and just really attaining some kind of notoriety and recognition, perhaps through something Scorpio-like, such as the occult, supernatural, astrology, alchemy, magic, even locksmith work, something connected with forensics, investigation. So anyway, next thing up, Saturn will still be in Capricorn, so the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, this could be a very strong period of very strong introspection, and it might be about burying a lot of those. I mean, this is the house of secret sorrows, and then you're talking about Saturn. This could be about really burying them very secretly, very privately, those sorrows and in sadness and dejection. I have this. Some of you may know I have Saturn in my 12th natally, so I understand what this is about, whether it's natal or in transit. So anyway, back to this. Could also be about really, in some isolated cases, this could be about maybe where I mean a father or an authority figure might pass away at this time. My father died when I was about 4 years old. I have Saturn in the 12th natally, as I stated before, but it's also the ruler of my 10th house, which is the dominant parent, which is generally the father. So there is a loss and restriction with that. Back to Saturn and Capricorn and the 12th house, though. This could also be a very introspective period about a lot of self-analysis and really about weeding through maybe maybe discarding what's frivolous and the things that might be holding you back at this time. And in some cases there can be, I mean, maybe somebody in your private life, you might be taking care of a debilitated person, and it might be Capricorn related, such as something with the knees or with the bones. And you might, and it might be causing a little bit of that Capricorn-like despondency and really feeling melancholy. And this is really a time where you might be really devoting a lot more time to seclusion and solitude. Anyway, next thing up is Uranus will still be in Aries. So the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, this could be about a lot of extemporaneous thinking, ideas coming very perhaps very spontaneously, very quickly, almost like lightning. Also, the thinking at this time might be a little bit more erratic and sporadic, and you may be more unpredictable in your speech. At the same time, this could be a time where you might be thinking a lot more in a very ingenious way, and really and have ideas that are very pioneering at this time, considering we're talking about Aries energy. Also, I mean, remember the third house is also about siblings and neighbors if applicable. So you might see behavior from these people be a little bit more shocking at this time, or even bizarre even. At the same time, these people might be expressing some real ingenuity and really original thinking at this time. And also you might be experiencing more disruptions in your communications than usual. They could be very sporadic and erratic, up and down. You might be talking consistently with people 1 minute, and then the next minute communication might go dead for a little bit. A lot of this fluctuation as far as this goes. Also, this could be a time where maybe there could be some, I mean, you're talking about, I mean, Uranus is connected with electronics, computers. There could be perhaps some issues, electronic issues with the vehicle that you use for your transportation at this time. And at the same time, you might be expressing even original ideas that are connected and be more open to those ideas that are associated with transportation at this time. So anyway, next thing up is Neptune will still be in Pisces. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, well, this could be about, in some cases, sadly, the dissipation and dissolving, perhaps, of one's finances, but at the same time, on a positive end, this could also be, when you're talking about dissipating and dissolving energy, this could also be about the dissolving of one's values, but it's not always bad, especially if the values maybe were somewhat Pisces-like, unrealistic at this time. That being said, I mean, you're still talking about Neptune in the second house. It still could suggest that the values might be you might be a little bit more confused regarding them at this time, and they might be a little bit unclear, a little bit nebulous, and in your financial situation may be as well. And you might also, it might be a little bit of self-deception regarding what one's self-worth is at this time, and maybe putting on maybe a little bit of mask and thinking, well, I'm actually, I really feel this way about myself. I think I'm such and such, but maybe the reality is you may not. This could also be at the time to be really more careful, Aquarius, than usual at this time, because this is a time where you might be more susceptible to deceptions in monetary matters at this time. So be extra assiduous and prudent if you're signing anything or making any kind of monetary deal with somebody, and seeing all the fine print, because there's more susceptibility to being more gullible and deceived in terms of things of a monetary nature. And so anyway, well, the next thing up is Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the 12th houses will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. At this time for Aquarius, I mean, in some cases on a positive end, this could be about the obliteration and destruction of a hidden adversary. I'm not saying necessarily by death, but this could be a time when maybe those somebody that may have been pretending to be your friend but was secretly an enemy or adversary might just disappear, and you won't be bothered with this person anymore. At the same time, and on a negative side, I mean, Pluto, as I've talked about before, I mean, it is connected with death, and I know a lot of you don't like me talking about the dreaded D word, but here it goes again. That it could be the passing or death of somebody that maybe figured prominently in your private life. This could also be about a powerful need, perhaps for seclusion and solitude at this time. At the same time, this might maybe destroy that ability to have that privacy, but at the same time, remember, Pluto is also about rebirth and regeneration. So if something ends where you have a certain private life coming to an end, it doesn't mean that it won't be supplanted at some point in time later on. So there just might be things in the private life that might be being destroyed at the time, but at the same time, it can be supplanted later on. But anyway, this could also be a time too, and to be careful, Aquarius, because the 12th house does, I mean, some isolated cases this might happen. I mean, the 12th house is over mental illness, and this could be in Pluto energy could be very obsessive and compulsive. So you could do the math. I mean, this could be something where maybe a compulsive obsessive disorder might take place, or might. And if one already has one, maybe it could be maybe exacerbated at this time, perhaps because since you are having the planet associated with things that are compulsive and obsessive, and you're talking about the house of mental illness, it might gain more power maybe at this time if one already has that situation. But like I said, this is very isolated, of course. So anyway, next thing up is the North Node will still be in Leo, so the 7th house will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, well, when the North Node is in transit, this can often be about perhaps confronting issues, and this could be a time where you might have to confront a domineering, arrogant, or even overbearing significant other, or somebody that you're, or just a person in general that you might have a significant friendship with, someone very prominent in your life. At the same time, this could be about using that Leo fortitude and courage and self-assuredness and confidence to confront open adversaries. If you have hesitated or procrastinated on it, this is likely a time where you may either will yourself to do it or feel there's no other choice but to do so. And also, this could be about maybe being, in some cases, having to be a little bit extravagant and spend a little bit more on matters connected with documents. It could be legal matters, and even a business partnership, and perhaps even a significant other at this time where you might have to spend a little bit more money than usual. So anyway, Next thing up is the Black Moon Lilith will still be in Capricorn, so the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, this could be, in some cases, I mean, Black Moon Lilith can be about revelation and unveiling, and this could be about a revelation and unveiling, perhaps, of somebody, perhaps in your private life that might come out, that might be someone very tyrannical and ruthless and overambitious, or it could be a hidden adversary that does emerge at this time. And this could also be in some cases about maybe a depressing mental illness that is unveiled, that maybe you had that you didn't really want to be unveiled, but somehow the cat is out of the bag, so to speak. Or maybe it's just some mental illness that might cause certain despondency and sadness and make you feel really down and melancholy. Also, this could be a time too, when you look at this, that, I mean, you're talking about the Black Moon Lilith in Capricorn and the 12th house. This could be too, really about, I mean, this could be about, I mean, Black Moon Lilith could be about, you know, what puts you in that state of trepidation. And I think when you're talking about Capricorn in the 12th, that state of trepidation may come on perhaps through maybe having maybe strong restrictions and limitations perhaps in one's private life, and really about having limitation, restriction, maybe in one's need, in one's Aries connected with solitude and seclusion and their privacy. So anyway, last but not least, Chiron will still be in Pisces, so the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Aquarius. So at this time for Aquarius, well, there can be some emotional suffering and emotional wounds, perhaps connected with deception and duplicity over things of a monetary nature. It might be about putting value in things that are unrealistic. It might be over maybe confusion over one's self-esteem and self-worth. It could be, in some cases, you're talking about Pisces energy, it could be about the dissipation and dissolving of one's self-worth for whatever reasons. And to keep in mind, I mean, you're talking about Chiron and Pisces and the second house. And also it could be about the dissipation, dissolving of one's possessions at this time. And in some isolated cases, this could also be about maybe there can be some suffering in matters connected with putting something, you know, negative Pisces, like in terms of a value, such as drugs and alcohol, in some cases maybe even selling these items and facing, you know, some suffering because of that. Sometimes, I mean, of course, it could result in, you know, in incarceration. So, and also keep in mind, people, that Chiron is the wounded healer. So in these ways where, you know, one may be suffering, going through some emotional suffering in connection with Chiron and Pisces in the second house, they could help others dealing with comparable situations, and doing so with a lot of that Pisces like empathy, compassion, and self-sacrifice. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Aquarius February 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Pisces February 2018 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.